name's Aaron Kennedy. I'm a Supervisor 1 here at Laguna Woods Village Security, which is basically like a field sergeant. So I'm in charge of field supervision of the other patrol units that are out in the field at this time. I've been here over 2 years. I do have prior law enforcement experience, 11 years prior law enforcement experience. With that, I was an investigator, so you know, that all that knowledge helps me in helping the residents here in Laguna Woods Village. You know, I like to be proactive here. You know, always looking for the suspicious person, or always looking for things that just appear out of place. And then a lot of times too, I just love pulling up to the residents that are out walking and just chit-chatting, providing my business card, letting them know, hey, if you have any questions about anything, or feel free to contact me. And the way I look at it is that, you know, I'm out here to serve and help my parents or grandparents. So, you know, the way I tell the residents is there's nothing too small for us to go out and help you with. There was a lady who asked for help or assistance. It was a call. It was assistance in just carrying a printer down to her car, you know, and I would respond to that call, and you know, she's like, oh, hey, I don't mean to bother you. Like, you're never a bother, you know. You know, what we do a lot is a security division. I mean, we're going out to assess plumbing issues, we're going out to assess structural issues, electrical issues, all these things, because we're the only 24-hour department, right? So we're doing a lot of those things too outside of the security realm.
What would you say was the biggest adjustment from going to what you might say a regular police department, responding to calls, and coming here?
You just have to realize that you're not a police officer anymore. You know, we're licensed security guards or security officers through the state, but our powers are limited to that of the private person, and so you just have to understand that. You know, but with that being said, it's also very helpful because I do understand the law and I do know what my abilities are and what I'm not able to do as well.
What would you say is one of the things that people expect or ask of you that you guys just can't do? What are some of the things you go like, hey, you know what, that's not what we do. You're gonna have to call a police officer or something like that for this?
Well, a lot of times too, like, we're sent out on calls, and it could be an assault, it could be domestic, it could be things like that. And we get sent out and make assessments, you know, and then we'll contact, you know, the Orange County Sheriff's Department to come out if we feel like, okay, this is something that they need to come out for.
Today at School 2, they're having a Flash Days event.
And that's really my job as a field supervisor, is to make those determinations on the calls we're being sent on, you know, to keep us safe, to keep our residents safe, and to make sure that our residents are getting the proper service, and that's, you know, for their issue.
Do you say to yourself, like, hey, today is the day where I'm gonna, like, or when you see something like, oh, we've definitely had a problem over here, I'm gonna do extra here, I'm gonna go over here, when you guys get kind of your watch list of the day, here's things we're looking out for, what are the kind of specifics that sometimes you're looking out for when you're just out here on patrol?
We do get that, so we do have what we call BOLO sheets, or be on the lookout, and a lot of it's just like transients that have security breached into the village in the past, patrol checks for particular areas that a resident may have a concern about. You know, those are the things that we're looking for. And I know for me, you know, with my prior law enforcement experience, you know, I've dealt with, you know, parolees and probationers, and, you know, within the village. And you know, we've done a lot of good work here in order to get the undesirables out.
How many calls would you say you go on a typical day, or the department as a whole goes on a typical day?
It really varies. I think for day shift, I mean, it can be, you know, as slow as maybe 20 calls, but as busy as 50, 75, okay, you know, plus.
So how vast, from your perspective, is this area that you guys patrol? All the gates, all the communities, all the everything?
I mean, it's, what, 3.5 square miles. You know, like I said, it's its own mini city, you know, and you know, that's what makes us different. You know, the typical security person that may be working at, let's say, Bank of America or something where they're standing a post is completely different to what we're doing. It's because we're out on active patrol. You know, we're observing and reporting, but we also have a contact element. So we observe, we contact, and then we report and make assessments to determine, you know, if the sheriff's department needs to get involved, fire department, things like that.
Do you guys get special assignments, security for an event, security for these kinds of things? Do you cover those as well?
We do, yeah, we do. People can request our presence at, you know, a lot of times there's like like during the summer, like a concert, different things like that, and we'll, you know, supplement with security personnel for them. We do have special assignments here as well. There is a traffic unit, and their primary function is traffic enforcement. So they'll be making traffic stops for traffic violations, from speeding, stop signs, things like that.
When you go on a typical day, what do you prepare for? What's your mindset when you go out? I know you talked about service and that kind of thing, but you know, is there kind of a mindset of a police officer? Is it a mindset of service? Is it a mindset of what is it when you're thinking, hey, I'm going out, I'm hitting the road, let's make today happen?
I think it runs the gamut. I think that, you know, my police experience definitely does help, but in policing, I mean, we were very service oriented as well. I mean, it was community oriented policing. The same thing that I kind of look at here is the things that we're doing is community oriented or resident oriented here in the village. And, you know, my main focus is to be available to assist them, and then when I am available to have my own patrol time, is I'm looking for people that probably probably shouldn't be here, and so that our residents don't become a victim of crime.